Nothing was better than getting fresh, hot
Yeah.
Zeppelis at a
Oh
bazaar.
my God. I remember they would give you a paper bag full and the paper bag would turn
Greasy.
oily.
And then they would put the powdered sugar in,
Oh,
and you'd
yeah.
be shaking it all the way, like you walk away,
They had
shaking it
a
all up.
big vat of oil, and you would watch them put it in, cook it, scoop it out, and put it in the bag. You had it right out of the, oh my God.
You didn't grow up on Long Island in the 1970s if you didn't go to a church bazaar during the summer. We're here to talk about the church bazaars that I think most people they're familiar with it if they grew up on Long Island. Now, if you grew up in another town and you had church bazaars that had the rides and the carny games and, music, all of that, we would love to hear about it. Make sure you press the button to subscribe and to like and make a comment. Tell us where you had your church bazaar. For Joanna and I, we did it at St. William's in Long Island, Seaford.
St. William's the Abbot.
And our dad actually had a lot to organizing that. At one point, I think he was in charge of the committee at one point.
What was he? I know he always worked the food.
Yes, he did. I wonder why.
Really?
It's good stuff. But I mean, in the food areas, there are different layers to all of these bazaars. Now you've got the food, the carny food, you had the carny rides, and you had the carny games. All right. So let's start with food since you brought it up. On Long Island, the first thing I can think of is Zeppelis. Nothing was better than getting fresh, hot Zeppelis at a bazaar.
Oh my God. I remember they would give you a paper bag full and the paper bag would turn
greasy.
oily.
And then they would put the powdered sugar in.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you'd be shaking it all the way, like you walk away,
They
shaking
had
it all
a
up.
big vat of oil, and you would watch them put it in, cook it, scoop it out, and put it in the bag. You had it right out of the, oh my God. It was basically a funnel cake in a glob,
but better.
Like a donut, but it was better. Yeah. I don't know why it was better, but maybe because it was fresh.
It might have also just been a different formulation. Because I was going to say, I've had Zeppelis like at some local pizzeria or whatever. It's not the same. And I've even had it in local on Long Island and not the same. Like there is something about getting it, like they made it right in front of you, threw it in that bag, threw some powdered sugar in it, and like, here you go.
I had Zeppelis at a pizza place once too. You're right. I think the dough was not as dense and the oil didn't soak through as much.
I think if
Yeah.
I was to be on Long Island during the summer at any given time, I would run to a bazaar, a church bazaar, just to
I
get
could
the
smell it right now.
And of course, they also had the sausage and peppers, and they had the hamburgers, hot dogs, the normal fare that they had at these things. Was there anything else? And of course, the sodas and the beers, but the sodas were in the cans, and they were outrageously priced at 25 cents a can. Outrageous.
Okay, I remember that.
What do you mean it's 25 cents? Too funny. But aside from that, we're going to get to the carny rides, I promise. We had all the games, right? Now, the games, normally there were church parishioners that were running the different games in the different areas. And like the one that I think most people will always remember is the goldfish toss.
Oh, yes. We brought home many a goldfish. They all died. Within 2 weeks.
Yeah, they did die. They did die. We'd have the little ball and you had to like throw it into like this whole table full of tiny little goldfish bowls.
Yeah.
I wish they gave you the goldfish bowl with it, but they would just like dump it into like a plastic bag and you'd be walking around the rest of the time with your plastic bag.
My kids did 4-H and at the end of their event, they have the 4-H fair and they did the fish. It wasn't as easy to win a fish, but a couple of times they did.
I remember also they had the game where it was like a triangle and there was a chain in the middle and it had like a little ball. And then you would have the blocks all set up and you had to knock them down and like it would roll out. This probably, I don't know if this was for younger kids or whatever, but I think you were supposed to knock all of them down. And if you knocked all of them down, you got a prize. But the prize was small. It was something like a tattoo on your hand or something like that.
One of these.
Okay. Or did they have them then?
Yeah.
I don't
I remember
remember.
them.
Because I am even thinking about
the tent I remember that I like. First of all, I want to mention at St. William's. Remember the tents were the striped blue and red? I don't know why that sticks, but yeah. Was the little tiny circles that you had to toss on the posters and you would win a poster. That was, I think, the one I remember the most.
Well,
I got
remember
Knight Rider. I got a Knight Rider poster.
I won one time, and I won Farrah Fawcett. You know that famous pose. And so I had all these boys chasing me, going like, "Give the poster to me! Give the poster to me!" And just because they all wanted it, I was like, "No!" I don't ever know what actually happened to it. I'm pretty sure I didn't hang it, but yeah, I got the shot right there.
You should have said $10.
Actually, I do remember what happened to it.
Oh,
Mrs. McCormick. She was running a booth, and she said, "Danielle, come here. I'll trade you for a different prize," because she was at a different booth. And
Mrs.
she gave me a different
McCormick
booth.
really took care of us.
But
she taught me to read.
She was wonderful. But they had all the tented ones, all the tented things, which were a little bit more kind of hodgepodge. I almost feel like they were making up these little games that were there. But then they had the ones that came in on the trailer that were a lot more fancy, and they had the big teddy bears you can win.
Oh.
And stuff like that. It might have been like with a water gun and you got to fill up the clown's mouth and there was like a balloon that would fill up on the top of the head. That kind of thing.
Yeah. I think I played once and I won, but they wouldn't give me the prize.
Mm. Do you remember the dunking booth?
Yes. I want to say, I think the dunking booths and the tents were owned by the school because I remember seeing it in the school on the off during the school year. Yeah, because the blue and red stripe, I was like, these are the Bazaar tents. But anyway, yes, I remember the Dunkin' booth.
I feel like one of our relatives sat on that one. I want to say it was Fred.
I could see it.
Yeah, I could see him doing it. But he also was a really good pitcher, apparently, like baseball.
Yeah.
He was very good. Mm-hmm. So I also would not be surprised if he took out some of his friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember as the years went on, those the dunking booth got cloudier. And the water got cloudy.
I mean, honestly, when you really think about it, one, that water must have been frigid.
Yeah.
Two, I would think after you're not telling me they dumped it and refilled it every single night.
Yeah, I don't think they did.
I think
because the water looked dirty.
That looked nasty.
Yeah.
So I have a carny kind of fear. You know how we have fears?
Okay.
Like even right down to sometimes even at Disney, I get a little bit, roller coaster stuff. It's not that I'm so much afraid of the ride. I'm afraid of the safety of the ride. And the reason why is because of these.
I'm just afraid of the ride. Okay.
Now, do we or do we not remember like back then? Now, granted, nowadays, I'm sure it's different. But back then, you would catch these teenage kids that were basically the ones that were running these rides. Half of them were sneaking off and smoking pot. Do you don't remember that?
We have different memories.
Oh, they had the roach clips and everything.
Oh, I
they
remember
were flirting with the teenage girls while the whirly twirly thing is going on.
I remember adults.
They might have looked like adults, but they weren't.
Oh, they didn't.
If you happen to be
like they were
from Seaford and remember that, you kind of tell me. I'm pretty sure they were. If they weren't teenagers, they were young 20s.
Maybe.
Yeah.
but they did look like hooligans.
So the rides I think of is salt and pepper.
What was salt and pepper?
So it was like a thing on top and a thing on bottom, and like only a handful of people would come in, and it would just like rotate.
Okay, I would not go on that.
Yeah, no, wouldn't go on it. But so
do you remember the vomit thing?
Was it called a roundabout or something?
Roundabout, that's it. I remember
it was like centrifugal.
Yeah.
I can't say centrifugal.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, you're stuck to the wall.
Focal. Yeah, stuck to the wall. I remember putting my feet up. I remember watching somebody go upside down.
A roundup.
I think you were right the first time. Roundabout. Today I wouldn't go on it because that would make me nauseous.
Yeah.
But back then I remember going on it. I think I got a little dizzy. My favorite was the Sizzler.
Which was the Sizzler? That sounds familiar.
They had you sit in that thing. And then there's several of them. They would go around.
I did enjoy that.
I did enjoy that. But depending on where you sat, the heaviest person should be in the inner because you always slammed into that person. It's a way to get all cozy with someone if you were dating them, but I never did. Yeah, I remember going with one of my siblings. It could have been you or Nancy, but and it goes, and I was on the outer. That's when I realized and I had to hold myself to keep from slamming into you because I knew I was or whoever, to make sure, because they were smaller than me, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna crush them. But that's when I knew.
Confusing a memory with another place, but did they have the swing, the swings that you sit on? And yes, they did. I remember the chain link swings.
I don't think that might have been there, but because that would have taken up a lot of room.
Right.
I remember it at a park, one of the amusement parks on Long Island. Maybe.
I don't remember it being a big one.
Oh, okay. Then maybe, because the one at the park, I forget the name of the park, was big.
Yeah, I gotta think about that.
I got bored on them because you get up and you're like, "Wee, this is fun," and then it's like, "Okay, I'm done." Oh God, we're still on it.
I know, right? There was a few rides that were particularly popular.
Usually the same ones.
I know, right?
The one they did have like a mini Ferris wheel. I do not like Ferris wheels. To this day, I'm not a fan. But one of the reasons is you sit in the Ferris wheels and the connectors slide. Click, click, click. I'm like, this is not stable.
Okay, now you understand why I have like this shit with the carny
Well,
rides.
that has nothing to do with the carnies. That has to do with the equipment.
Well, that they're supposed to maintain it.
Possibly, but I wouldn't doubt that click click was okay.
It probably was something that would, they got to have something that has give or something.
The Sizzler, I think I've heard it called other things too, at the 4-H fairs, but the Sizzler always looked new to me.
And didn't they have, other than the Sizzler, didn't they have something that was called a Spider, which was like the Sizzler, except it was like that,
but it went up.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that too. I feel like there was a lot more. Was there a slide? Like a tall slide
remember.
That you sat on a mat?
That I don't remember. I do remember going to other carnivals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking again the 4-H. The thing that started to replace a lot of the equipment were the blow up ones, and those had a lot of slides, base ones, which is fun, but not as fun as.
Now, if I recall correctly, the other really cool thing about our bazaars, you have the rides, and in all honesty, we very rarely ever went on the rides, because then it was like 50 cents or something like that to get on, or $1, and you had to buy certain tickets.
I know we had to buy tickets.
Some rides were more tickets than others.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like the kiddie rides were like 50 cents. tickets, and then
Yeah.
the more you had to hand over more. And I remember it wasn't worth it, but the tickets also could be used for the games, so you
Yeah.
could get a lot more with the games when you played that.
Do
But
you remember that coin game? Oh God, it was terrible. You put the
yes,
coin in and then it would hit and you have to wait for the thing to
slide.
sweep and see if any coins fall out. You never won that.
Oh,
I
I
don't
did.
the coin. Oh, did you? I never
Yeah,
did. The coin would just fit into the other coin. So it's like, how did that happen? It looks very full.
I got to sneeze.
And they always had coins so close to the edge.
I remember I won something like $5, and that's the most money I ever had in my entire life.
Wow. Well, Grandma used to give us $5 for Christmas.
I know, but at that time, I was pretty. It was dramatic.
It's
the most money I ever
The most
had.
you ever won. Yeah.
Because I probably never won any money. But do you remember? And then, of course, they had the little kiddie area that was cornered off, and they had they fill up the balloons with water, and you would do tosses and stuff like that. They had little games for that. But inside the school, because it was at
I
the
was
school.
thinking this too just now. But
What
go
was
ahead.
in the school?
Gambling.
I was thinking of the bake sale, because they had a
Casino
bake
night.
sale that also went down the hallway.
They did, but they
Because
had a
I remember
casino
getting
night.
excited about, I want cake.
And I always thought it was strange because it was a church. Now, it was in the school, not the church. Although
Casino
one year they
nights.
did hold it in the basement of the church. But you know that Bible story with Jesus, with the gambling, and I always thought that was very hypocritical of them.
I'm sure they justified it as, oh, it's fundraising. It's all for good, clean fun. But I remember that.
We weren't allowed in it.
The big raffle that everybody, the 50-50.
18 and over.
But yeah, I wonder if it got eventually, because I'm wondering, how is that legal?
Like you said, it could be fundraising. Now, we weren't allowed in it because I think it was 18 or 21, but I'm pretty sure it was 18
It makes you
over.
wonder if it was something.
Because they had the blackjack tables. They had that spinning. I remember looking in.
Being that we went to school at the place that they had to it, and it was inside school, it was in the gymnasium, that meant that gym class was not going at the very end, because it was always right when school ended. That's when they were having, because I remember them setting up the rides out on our last week of school.
I do.
So
you're right.
You could peek into the room, and you would see in the gym, they had a stage that they were setting up these, and they look shiny with red, if I'm not mistaken, tablecloths.
I thought green, but I could be
Maybe
just
it was
putting
green.
that.
Well, their color was
Maybe
a maroon and
both.
green, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Maroon and something. But yeah, wow, I can't believe that. I forgot
blast
about
from the
that.
past. But yeah, I always thought it was hypocritical even as a kid, because they're the ones who taught us about Jesus getting mad in the temple.
I wonder if that's just something that fell out of favor, or if it was something that was made illegal, because again, gambling is not legal.
Well,
not legal.
The church could have the churches usually run under different rules, which no, that's not right. But there you go. 2, like you said, it could have been done in such a way that it's a fundraiser, so it was okay. 3, we don't know what the rules were. We were kids, so we didn't play in there. So I can't say, you just got tickets and when you ran it. So it didn't have the gambling issue. Mom and Dad didn't do it.
No.
Dad was working it and Mom was watching us. And then
Dad did not get involved with the gambling part.
No, he didn't.
I think
he probably felt the same way.
Yeah, he probably did.
You probably thought it was hypocritical too.
I can't believe I forgot about that.
I mean, you can kind of say, well, I guess it's a lottery ticket. Bingo is the same thing, and
Dad did bingo. He
did do bingo, but that was more of a game you were playing. A chance.
I also felt like it was kind of like a community thing. It was a lot of a lot of the community came in and sat down with it. Bingo's fun,
but bazaars they don't have church bazaars anymore, do they? I don't see them here. I know that.
At least in well, I see there's a Greek Orthodox church here that does
I've
have
been
one.
to that.
Yeah, I've been through it a
But
couple
it
times.
wasn't because they don't have a lot of room back there. So they don't have the rides unless they have it at the park
They
now.
had the blow up ones.
Okay. Well, I remember going there and having baklava the first time.
Mm.
And then we bought the recipe book and Gordon used to make baklava. Oh my God,
But
so good.
around here, no, because I think here they have state fairs in our
Okay.
community, and it's right here in our
Well,
neighborhood.
they
So
didn't have that when we were when I was
yeah,
living
they
down
have
there.
state fairs here. So like, I guess it's not as common for a church to do a fundraiser in that way. I would
Yeah.
imagine nowadays there's probably a legal liability. Um, I would be nervous about doing a fundraiser in that way. But
No idea.
Long Island, I feel like they still do it. I have to make some phone calls to people and ask because I'm curious. That was a major, major
If you're from Long
fundraiser.
Island and you still have the church
Yeah, tell
bazaars,
us because
let us know.
it was a major fundraiser for churches on Long Island. So I'd be shocked if they stopped doing it. Yeah, tell us whether or not it stopped because
I wonder how much money they made.
I
Do you remember the week leading up to it and they're setting up and you would walk through and then
Be so
during the day you
excited.
would kind of walk through? Yeah. And I remember it was so exciting leading up and seeing it being put together because it took them a week to put it together. And then you had the bazaar. By the end of that bazaar week, I was done.
Yeah.
I was done. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
goodbye, good riddance. Do you also remember we used to walk there and walk home at night and you could still hear it when you crossed that?
You could still hear it when you went to bed. You could hear that
Yeah.
that hydraulic system on the spinning thing where it would go up
Okay.
and down.
I knew
and
we
you
heard
could
yeah.
literally hear the hydraulic system that
Yeah.
went on. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Such
No, I
strange
remember
noise.
I remember having the window open and you're like,
And people
it was an
screaming,
enjoyable sound.
in the
Yes.
distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Good times, good times.
Good times.
Well,
And
if
we
you
didn't live
have,
close. We were like a half a mile away to a mile.
yeah,
We're probably a mile away.
not even, I don't think.
By the crow flies, though, it may be just
Be like a quarter of a mile. But if you have any bizarre, well, not bizarre, but bazaar memories, carnivals. We always called it a bazaar on Long Island. So if you have any memories of those
bizarre.
that maybe we missed, especially if you came from our neighborhood, I'm dying of curiosity of what y'all remember.
We had 4-H fair, which was kind of very similar. When my kids were growing up.
Was there
they
like
still
a
have
polka night?
They did, but I don't think it was associated with the fair.
Okay.
I remember
I thought like there was like
there.
they would have the little stage that was that portable stage, and there was different bands and stuff that would play. And I feel like there would be one night
they
where
had an
people were
Oktoberfest. I don't know if it was Long Island, but I remember an Oktoberfest going to, and Dad loved them.
I just remember lederhosen. There was a lot of lederhosen in our lives when we were growing up. Anyways, be sure to press the buttons. Press the button. Press the button. Press the button.
Press the button.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Bye.